What is up, my people? Big L here, and I just wanted to introduce you guys to the first episode of Drunk Comics. This is something I wanted to do for a while, review some comics that we don't get that much shine from the mainstream while I'm drunk, which is a plus because, I'm more relaxed and my tongue's a little more loose like that. So hopefully it'll be an entertaining ride for you guys. And the first comic we're to talk about is The Pro, written by Garth Ennis, with art by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti. And The Pro tells a story about a sex worker that happens to gain powers from an alien. Interesting stuff. And before we get to the story, I wanted to talk about the creators first. Garth Ennis is one of my favorite comic book writers of all time. His work's been amazing in Preacher. His run on Punisher for Marvel Max was great. And we know him for the most popular show on Amazon pretty much right now, The Boys. And one thing his work has in common is that he really hates superheroes. So he's known for writing some top tier stories with amazing art and messed up action. So I'm looking forward to reviewing this. Now let's talk about the artists. Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti are one of the best comic book duos out right now in the industry. They've done amazing work on their Harley Quinn series for DC, and when they're not fighting a good fight and getting the general public into comic books, because comic books are like $1 billion IP for these movie studios, but none of these people that are going to see the movies are going to the local comic shops to support the comics that inspire these movies. So Jimmy and Amanda are always out there with their voices, letting people know like, yo, you like these movies, you're gonna love these books, so check it out. That's one thing I love about them, their love for the comic book industry and their passion for it. So check out their Harley Quinn series from DC and their website, paperfilms.com. All right, so let's get into the story. We're introduced to the main character, The Pro. She has no name throughout the whole story, so I'm just gonna be referring to her as The Pro. So her being a sex worker, we see her in an alleyway in a car performing a blowjob on a guy. They finish up, the guy wants to lowball her for the price. They agree for $50. He wants to pay her 20. She's not having it. Dude tries to kill her. Typical shit for a sex worker, I guess. Pretty outlandish, but Anyway, she heads home after that, picks up her baby from the babysitter. I guess it's one of her neighbors. And man, when I tell you this is a horrible babysitter, this is a horrible babysitter. I mean, look at that diaper. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's been sending his own filth for like hours already. Mind you, she was supposed to pick him up like at midnight, and it's like 2:30 in the story, so she's pretty late. So that kid's been suffering that diaper for a while now. After arguing with the babysitter, she heads to her apartment, where we cut to a spaceship in space, and we're introduced to a perverted version of the Watcher called the Viewer, or if you prefer what his robot assistant calls him, the Voyeur, because he just loves watching The Pro, and I guess he jerks off to her because there's like lotion and like napkins next to him. So I guess that's how he gets down. Anyway, he wants to give her powers to show the rest of the galaxy that humans are capable of being part of the Galactic Alliance that he's part of. So, it's kind of like a Green Lantern thing, like, yo, I'm gonna just give you this power so you'll be able to do good. Even though he knows that she's not a pretty good mom from what I've seen so far. Or, he just wants to see her in a skin-tight superhero costume and jerk off to that. Maybe he's getting bored seeing her just perform blowjobs in the cars. Maybe he wants something different. Who knows? Not to kink shame him. There's no kink shaming in this review, all right? So she wakes up in the morning, going through her daily routine. Then she knows that she's floating in the air. Of course, like any normal person, she starts freaking out. And that's when we're introduced to the League of Honor, which is just a freaking... Not even a subtle take on the Justice League. I mean, Garth Ennis really lets you know this is supposed to be the Justice League, and this is how he feels about them. They were contacted by the Viewer to check up on the Pro and her powers and offer her a spot on their team. So of course, this being a knockoff of the Justice League, there's knockoff characters. We have the Saint, which is their Superman, the Knight, which is their Batman, the Squire, which is his Robin, the Lady, great name. Like, I guess he wasn't even really trying to give her a genuine name. He's just giving them all basic names. It looks like the Lady is Wonder Woman, and the Lime, oh man, don't even get me started with the Lime. I was like, what the fuck is going on with this character, man? This is not cool, Garth. Not cool. And the Lime is supposed to be like the Green Lantern, I guess the Jon Stewart version of him. And we have Speedo as their Flash, and he's wearing a Speedo. Just because if you didn't get the name, what he's about, you get the visual too. him in his little speedo with his overalls, but not really. Just like he just has the straps with overalls, but connected to his speedo. It's a weird costume. The art's amazing, but the characters and the names are pretty lazy, but it's straight to the point of making fun of them, and that's what Garth is trying to do in this series, I guess. So they invite the pro to join the league. She doesn't want to join them. You know, she thinks they're corny. She doesn't want nothing to do with them. You know, she just thinks they're a bunch of jerk-offs in the costumes. But the knight and the squire lets her know that she will be getting paid when she joins up with the league. So she's like, fuck it, I'll join. So they go back to their headquarters. It looks to me like just give her a bunch of hand-me-down costumes from other members of the team or former members. A little Easter egg joke there for guys with, you know, good eyes. She gets Mercury Man's belt, and you know, on the belt buckle is I guess is a picture of Mercury, which kind of looks like, you know, semen. So, you know, nice little joke there, Garth. I really appreciate it. Don't get me wrong, some of these jokes are very, like, they're not really trying hard, like the whole Batman and Robin gay couple thing with that he got going on with the knight and the squire here. It's like, all right, how many times are you gonna hear about this? But you know, there are funny jokes in this book, but there's also some jokes that are like, oh, come on. Garth wasn't even trying with these. So they go on their first mission. This group of villains, I'm gonna call them the Grammar Gang, are attacking the UN, and they all have like weird names. There's the noun, the pronoun, the adjective, you know, stuff like that. It wasn't like he was really trying to think hard for these names, you know. It was like, let me just give us any names. They're bad guys. Who cares? They're not a big part of the story. So the noun blasts the pro with like her eye beams, and that really hurts the pro. So she's out for a minute. So while the other Justice League, Justice of Honor members are fighting other villains of this gang, the pro gets really upset, grabs the noun by her breast, twists them, starts flying with her while she's holding her breast in air, while the noun's screaming in pain, and just slams her inside the UN in front of like the whole assembly that's there. And it happens to be Take Your Kids to Work Day, so they have their kids there. So after she slams the noun onto the floor of the UN in front of everybody, she starts to take a piss on the noun. So she does her best R. Kelly impression here. Of course, the league is not happy about this. They reprimand her. They tell her like, yo, you know, you have an image now. You can't be vulgar like this. You can't be so graphic in the way you handle the villains. You know, not so violent. We don't kill, we capture and put them in jail on some goody two-shoes stuff. So the pro heard enough and she leaves. So we cut back to an alley, and the John from earlier that tried to kill the pro is about to get another blowjob from another sex worker when she lets the pro know that this is her guy. The pro rips the door open, takes the John out to get her revenge. But apparently this guy has been messing with all the sex workers around that area, not paying them, being rough with them, raping them. So, you know, there's a lot of these sex workers who want to have their revenge on this guy. So there's like a whole bunch of them lined up to get their revenge. And by revenge, I mean just ramming every possible item they could find into this man's anus. So he gets his just rewards. And we come back to the league and hear about this guy getting anally raped by a bunch of sex workers. And they're not happy with the pro. They want to kick her out. The Knight's had it with her. Then he wants her out the league. But the Saint, the Superman of the story, he's like, you know, I'll talk to her. I'll try to see, you know, if I could make her see like what she's doing is wrong and try to get her in line with our way of doing things. So we see the pro in her apartment just counting a whole bunch of money that she made the other night. We don't know how she made the money yet, but we're assuming it's through sex work. But she's sitting on thousands of dollars. Then we see that the John, I guess straight out the hospital because he's in his hospital gown, breaks into the apartment, has her kid with a gun on the kid's head and just ready to, you know, kill this kid for what he's been through. He's complaining to the pro that he has to have surgery now. His anus is so damaged, it's gonna take years to repair it. So this guy's in pain, and now he has a gun to a baby's head. And then they know that he's gonna kill the baby first before he kills her so she can suffer. So this guy's a piece of shit, bro. Like, this character is not likable at all. Right at that moment when he's about to pull the trigger, the Saint comes in and takes the gun away from the John right before he's about to shoot the baby. So now the pro is just angry as hell because, you know, he's threatening her kid's life. And she proceeds to punch him so hard that his jaw rips out his face. So the next scene is like him going to the ambulance without a jaw. And the jaw is like on the roof of the next building next to the pros. So it's pretty graphic. The violence in this story, man. It's pretty dope. The art's dope. But yeah, it's pretty graphic. So the Saint and the pro are talking in an apartment. You know, he's trying to get her to, you know, change her ways, to fall in line with the league and the way they do things. And he notices the money that's there. So he asks her like, yo, what's up with this money that you have here? And she's like, yeah, I gave like 1,000 blowjobs last night and with my super speed. So I was able to make all this money in one night. And this freaks the Saint out like, yo, you're not supposed to be using your powers like this. You know, this is wrong. She tells him to relax, you know, like what's wrong with, there's nothing wrong with having sex or performing sex acts. Like, what's the big deal? Like, doesn't he have a girlfriend? And he proceeds to tell her about his version of Lois Lane, I guess, and how he hasn't made a move yet. So the pro figure like, oh, this guy must be a virgin or something. And she just gives him a blowjob for saving her kid. And, you know, for him to loosen up a bit. Now this guy is just the Saint, just falling in love with the pro and how she's like giving him the best head he's ever had. And, you know, she's trying to tell him to, you know, it's just a head, it's just a blowjob. Don't fall in love with me. And he's there telling her that he loves her and whatnot. So right before he nuts, he tells her to get her head out the way because he's gonna nut so hard that it breaks through her wall and hits the wing off of the plane. So the plane starts going down and he has to save the plane. Not noticing that he has no pants on, so he's just flying with his dick flapping in the air. He manages to save the plane, but the people notice that he's not wearing any pants, and they freak out, and that's like another scandal that the pro gets blamed for when they head back into the League of Honors headquarters. At the headquarters, the League has it with her, like they want to kick her out the group. They're like, yo, she's no good. The Knight just, you know, just ripping her apart while the Saint's just sitting there like a candy ass. Like a little boy who's got caught cheating on his test or something. Like this dude, you could tell that's the first time he ever did anything with a woman. So the pro is finally tired of all his lecturing, and she's just like, yo, I've done things with my life that I'm not ashamed of. And I've done, like, you know, she just lists like blow job, rim jobs, mind you, speedos in the background, and he's the Flash, right? So he's listening to all these things that she's done in her past, and like he does a little quick jerk off when she's going through her list. And when he's done like this, he acts like nothing has happened because, you know, he has super speed. Nobody's gonna notice that. But that's a nice little Easter egg there because, you know, while she's talking, you see that going on in the background. Nice little catch there. Speedo jerking off. So the pro's like, yo, listen, I even seduced this guy to give him a blowjob, talking about the Saint. The League is like, oh, is that true? Is like, did you want it? Did you want to do it on your own free will, or did she make you do it? And so they ask him, did you want it? And he goes, no. So pretty much just throwing the pro under the bus after he got one of the most amazing blowjobs he ever had in his life. So anyway, they kick her out the League. She's like, she don't care. She's about to leave. Well, they got another alert saying that there's an attack on Empire State Building, hostage situation. So they should go check it out. The Saint convinced the League to let the pro come along, you know, saying they could use all the help they can. It would be wrong having a superpowered person here and not having to help with this hostage situation. So they're like, yo, fine, she could come along. Fuck it, it's her last mission with us. Let's just go handle this. When they get there, it looks like the police is already there and they have things just under control, but the pro lets the League know that, like, oh, maybe we should sit this one out and let the cops handle it. But, you know, the pros. Sorry, this drunk with comics guy. So, you know, I'm slurring and stepping up here and there, but, you know, that's the fun part of it. So the pros tells the League, like, yo, you know, the cop seems to have things under control. Maybe we should fall back and let them handle it. And the Knight's not trying to hear that. He's like, yo, the Lime, go take out the terrorists that are, like, outside. The Lime, I swear to God, Garth is like, he wrote this dude like he was like a character from a 1970s blaxploitation film or something, bro. This is like, his dialogue is so horrible. It's like, have you ever even talked to a black person? I don't really get picky with these things or get sensitive about things like this, but it's just like, it's like, why all the jive talk? It makes no sense. You could just have him be a shitty character out all the stereotypical bullshit about it. He gets killed off by terrorists by having his finger that has the ring, his power ring on, shot off by the terrorist machine gun. And he just falls to his death. So of course, also the only black guy dies in his, he's the only superhero that dies in his book. So, you know, another stereotype there. It's good stuff, Garth. Anyway, the league comes in and just makes a mess of things. The pro automatically kills one of these terrorists. So the terrorists, they start shooting at the Saint, and the Saint just deflecting the bullets because, you know, he's like Superman. Bullets don't really do anything for him. But by deflecting the bullets, they're ricocheting all over the place, hitting members of the League. I think he got the lady in the leg. Shot another. I think he got one of either the Knight or Squire in the ass somehow. Who knows? But, you know, it's a big mess. He takes out some terrorists like that with the ricochets. managed to kill some of the terrorists. So they had the situation under control, even though it's sloppy as hell. But there's a suicide bomber still around, and he's about to, detonate the bomb. But the pro stops him, grabs his arms, and she grabs it so tight that she rips his arms off his body. So now she has his arms and the bomb and the kill switch for the bomb on her. So then she's informed that the trigger is like sensitive. It's like a hair trigger. So, if she let go, it's going to blow up. And the bomb happens to be a nuke. So the nuke's about to, take out the whole city. So she's realizing that she's going to have to go to space and then detonate the bomb there. But, by doing that, she's going to have to kill herself. So she's going to have to make that sacrifice. She tells the saint, look after her kid. Don't let him grow up to be one of you guys, or she's going to come on his ass. And she flies off in space. So she's flying off in space and saying like, oh, I'm fucked. Realizing that there's no chance of her surviving this. And she happens to fly by the viewers, the spaceship. He has it like camouflage, so you really can't see it. So she flies right by him. And I'm assuming that the bomb goes off, but we don't see it go off. We just get an epilogue of the League of Honor fighting another group of supervillains. The Saint's so inspired by the pro that he starts cursing at them. And he's shocked that he cursed at them, but fuck it. That's what he got from that relationship that he had with the pro. And that was the end of the book. So they don't show her getting killed by the bomb or the viewer's ship getting blown up. Then I'm seeing that there's a sequel to this, a short sequel, about 12 pages, I believe, called The Pro versus the Hoe. So I'm assuming she survives this explosion. But I honestly say I'm not interested at all reading that. I mean, the art was fantastic here. I love Amanda Connor's art and Jimmy Palmiotti's inks and the way, the colors pop out and how the characters are dressed. And, they got the knight wearing some gimp gear and the squire being his submissive partner. The lady is hardly wearing a costume. She's pretty much just wearing like pasties on her breast. The Lime has like the worst Green Lantern costume and speedos. Like I said earlier, just speedos with some straps on it. So, the art was great. I enjoyed the art. The story was pretty much basic. If you want to check out Garth's take on superheroes, I recommend The Boys, which is a way better story than this, honestly. I mean, this was like fun at times, but sometimes it was just so juvenile that I'm like, oh, the eye rolls. And I love Garth's work, man. Like I said before, I'm a fan, but this wasn't for me. Like I said, if you want to check out his take on superheroes and actually enjoy it, check out The Boys. The show on Amazon's great. 3rd season's coming soon. Looking forward to that. And check out Amanda's and Jimmy's website, paperfilms.com. So, all right, guys, that was the first episode of Drunk with Comics. I made it through, made it tipsy. Shout out to my whiskey that I had while doing this. Made things a little easier. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and we could do more of these in the future. All right, my people. Until next time, take it easy. Catch y'all later. Peace.